So, before we get into it, in case you have been wondering why there were so few uploads recently, that's because I'm quite busy preparing for my very soon-to-be coming exams, so only expect about 1 and maybe 2 kinda scuffed videos per week in the next 4ish weeks. Sorry for that. But with that out of the way, we're now finally back with some new Alchemy Stars content. And not any content, but a long-awaited second collab. But to say it outright, it's not exactly looking great, as it seems like it will be pretty boneless, indicated by another real event running at the same time. And the collab characters, oh boy. Let's just say Tourdog ran out of creativity and pretty much copy-pasted a large part of their skill sets, just to once again force a gimmicky and potentially very bad collab-only rainbow team onto you. Why and how? Well, the first answer will stay unanswered for eternity, but for the second part we do have something, which we will talk about after I thank my channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and helping me make more scuffed YouTube content, and an extra huge shoutout goes out to the Grand Warlock. Back to failing to steal some hearts. Why? Because Tourdog did it again. Another new stack mechanic. Yay. But at least it's in the form of a new special skill that all Phantom Thieves have, that allows you to make use of a powerful all-out attack if any enemy is in the weak state, which you can achieve by getting 100 whole exploiting weakness. Guess what? Yes, stacks onto an enemy. But is this a good payoff? Hopefully, else it's looking very bleak for the Persona crew, as their kits are pretty much designed to rush B, with B in this case being the infamous all-out attack, but considering it says this, let's just talk about the characters. Yeah, no, not him, because this cat is not worth talking about for multiple reasons. So let's start instead with our first 5-star. Fox, who is, who could have guessed, a water detonator. His skill at MBT lets you deal damage to 2 surrounding clusters, inflicting 9 EW stacks, or double that amount, versus fire foes on a 2-turn CD with preemptive strike. And with some knowledge of the last collab, we basically know that every single character's preemptive strike is going to be their first BT. So don't even start coping yet, because it's going to get much, much worse. And a good first example for that is our first column chain, which at least can apply 3 to 6 stacks to ease my pain. And let me say this right now, pretty much everything you just saw is copy-pasted onto every character minus the exact skill and chain range, meaning their only individuality comes from their respective EQs, which for Fox is even more stack applying with normal attacks and a once per round first hit triple pain train, which is honestly not the worst, but even more damage in any element is probably the last thing anyone would need. And while we're already at needing something, I don't need to see this again. Yes, this is what I meant earlier. Say hello to your old friend, the Captain Change gimmick. And even though this makes him kind of a solid DPS, that's all he's ever going to be without the all-out attack hopefully being the most broken thing ever. And next we have the second 5-star of the batch, which is sadly at my dismay, Violet, with a fire detonator. Don't tell me Tourdog would make every single collab character a DPS. They wouldn't do such a nonsensical thing, right? Right? Anyway, her skill is once again a stack applier nuke, but this time around in a diamond shape around one selected tile, boasting a 3-turn CD and preemptive at probably BT2. Her chain on the other hand is exactly the same as Fox's, but with just 1 stack more. And now that we have all the originality out of the way, let's talk about her EQ, which is potentially the single best one in the whole collab for the very simple reason of it generally buffing all damage against weak status foes, which sadly first requires you to get to 100 stacks in the first place. But do not fear, because Tourdog once again made use of the Ctrl+V buttons, and also gave her the same normal passive attack gain effect, but it doesn't quite stop here, because her Captain Switch gimmick is also the same, with this whole exception of 5% more increase of damage to my brain power, which is thankfully still somewhat enough to finish this video, and even though I'm a huge Kasumi fan, I can't really be biased here, as she's also only at most solid-ish, with at least a lot more potential than Fox, not only because her kit actually also does something for your team, but also as she's the only character that shares an element with another collab unit, because we all know the collab team is basically a meme dream, so 2 same element characters is the best it will get. And our lucky second fire character is, drumroll please, of course, the Joker, which is a 6-star sniper with yet another skill nuke, that this time around doesn't directly inflict EW stacks. Oh, we're going risky today, aren't we, Toy Dog? But instead doubles one foe's stacks, which honestly makes him seem not that bad in combination with Violet, as this is on a 1-turn CD, making him by far the heart of the whole weakness gimmick mechanic. So no Joker, no useful collab characters, probably. When it comes to his chain, however, it's just a normal sniper one that applies stacks, and his EQ is finally somewhat different, as it spreads stacks of a fallen foe around like a disease. Ugh. But the rest is back to basics, as he deals a small amount of stacks on hit and also has a captain swap gimmick that this time around also works with swapping in general and provides one swap refresh, once again solidifying his spot as a core member in this whole stack inflicting mechanic team. But does that save him from being generally kinda underwhelming like the rest of his crew? No, not really, as he doesn't do much without other stack appliers, so you have to run him with Violet, meaning you can't make use of other better DPS characters without ruining your team's converting abilities. So we once again have a somewhat solid character, with similar to Violet some potential to be at least somewhat viable, which now gets us to our final victim, team member. The Queen. And yes, that's our already 5th DPS if you count Morgana, meaning this collab team Tourdog tries to mind control you into using doesn't have a single utility or converting character, as Queen boasts yet another skill damage nuke that applies EW stacks. But this time around, we're going global. And to at least not be incredibly boring, she also has access to, now we're getting crazy, an actually good detonator chain. And it doesn't stop just yet, as her Q makes her the, to be fair, quite scuffed non-TP version of Corax, with her now own 2-combo attack gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, here's your last dose of Captain Swapping, which gives her the incredible, so far never used, and brand new boon of 15% increased normal attack damage for one whole round. AKA, she's similar to every single other collab character, extremely disappointing and only solid in my eyes, at least until we can see how good this all-out attack truly is. So please, do yourself a favor and don't roll on day 1, and even better, don't roll at all with your own resources. That was all from me, have a nice day and see you next time.